money and revenue being earned in the industry to warrant huge salaries. I'm putting it out there because if you said
television, there's enough money being turned over as opposed to feature films. If we don't have audiences going in to watch feature films, we know that return is not going to come on the investment.
I belong to, so there's this relatively new union that started called Saga, which is affiliated with UASA, yeah. And every year we have our AGMs, and it's really interesting to see how passionate actors are, and they're like, yes, and our rights. But if you look, because the AGM is open to anyone and everyone who wants to come in, and the numbers are not reflective of the amount of actors out there. So you've got these very passionate actors saying, yes, we must, we must all stand up together in unison, otherwise things will never change. But 120 Rand a month is not enough.
unfortunately you're going to be,
But I mean, that's how we are going to change stuff. 16 actors walking off, that's it's sending a message, and I believe very strongly that every actor should join Saga. 120 Rand a month is quite a lot, but it's not even a meal out once a month.
where are their teeth for me? It's like my union's a baseball bat.
Supposed to be the team.
I'm going to play complete devil's advocate. Okay, you're looking at someone here who's saying, I got to fork out 120 bucks a month. Okay, first of all, I'm hustling. I don't know if I've got a job. Okay, I work. I'm not employed constantly. Okay, and what are the returns for me? Basic returns, straight up. When you're looking at an industry like, let's say, the fishing industry or the mining industry, you're talking about revenue being earned constantly. Here's a salary. Here I go. If we stop, this mine comes to an end, we can go into negotiations. You're looking at how many people are employed within the soapy industry. This is only the soapy industry that's kind of the television industry at the moment. You understand? It's a handful of people. So if you're saying to me, Saga, all right, but what is Saga going to do? What is Saga actually going to do? And go, hey, listen here, give me my money or what? No, or what? They're just going to replace you, bruh.
No, I think you should attend one of the amount of lawsuits that Saga has successfully gotten writers, actors, money from residuals or commercials or theatre or whatever problem they have. The stories are incredible and they stand there. And 120 Rand a month, I joined before I had my first professional acting job. I was waitering and I was paying that with my waiter money.
Saga didn't stop generations. 16 actors got together and said, hey, I'm done here, bruh. Okay. And this is all I'm looking at. I'm just saying realistically, my grandfather was a union man, okay? Started biscuits, fishermen. It's a dirty, dirty game, okay? Because at the end of the day, you've got to be strong enough to go to the big guys and say, this is not happening. These boats are not going out. These factories are not going to open, okay? Now, unfortunately, when you look at and this is where I got to say, is Saga, because the guys who sit there and represent Saga are still part of the industry. They still got to hustle their thing, Is it the game that they're playing? Because now if you're going to make enemies within that thing, dude, you're not. Where when it comes to unions, union game is that's that man's game. That's what he makes. He earns a revenue out of that. The union is strong financially because of that. It's a business.
If you look at whether it's British Equity or the Screen Actors Guild or American Actors Equity, we're talking about, they've got a kind of closed shop model because they're
What's a closed shop model?
Closed shop model is basically you're not going to work unless you're a member of one of those groups.
Okay.
And that's virtually legislated against because they can claim the full membership.
No, the laws are different.
For us, it's pie in the sky because actually there's a sustainability of industry, but like Jody said, is those structures, those unions, work like a business. I mean, the Screen Actors Guild, they own their own buildings.
Simplifying the generations debacle to me says this comes down to the contracts. They want long-term contracts instead of month-to-month engagements. But then at the same time, I'm like, but if Lois is a newbie on Generations and his character has got a small peripheral role that doesn't have a 3-year lifespan.
There are differentiations of contracts. I think the frustration creeping in for those actors is that they can't qualify for a bond.
Yeah.
Because
As
they've
a
got a
full-time
1 year
actor.
they've got a 1 year contract is all they can prove.
Yeah.
So they can't buy into a
They
longer
can't
term
access
bond.
credit.
And then
they can't engage in the economy.
They can't do that.
They
And-
can't exactly.
and-
they can't
and-
engage in the
Yeah.
economy.
And whereas they have probably been in, most of those guys
Yeah.
have been in, how many years have they been in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years. Some of them
20.
from the beginning of the
And
Yeah.
some of them can't,
Yeah.
and yet still, that very production is being sold now, reruns running all over, okay, all over the continent, huge money being generated off it. They don't see a cent. That's unfair, bottom line.
And people aren't watching the production or the
watching
script
the
writers,
person.
they're watching the people.
There's a possibility of old actors and actresses coming back. There might be auditions for people to come in and so on. Should that happen?
Maybe Saga should stop them.
I mean, would you go and audition? Would you go in, or are you going to stand in solidarity? What are you guys going to do?
There are people who are hungry enough. If you're hungry, you must understand, you're talking about people who are living below the bread line. If you've got nothing in the pot, what's going to stop you? This is my opportunity. Unfortunately, that's it.
And have you noticed I read the brief, the casting brief for the new characters that they're bringing in, and most of them are below 30, the new characters.
As in age-wise?
Age-wise,
Okay,
most of
so
them
they're
are
all
below 30.
fairly young.
Yeah.
They're looking for young people, young actors
So
who are
casting
not
is open.
experienced.
30K.
That's what I wanted to understand.
Dude, I was like, give me that brief, you rubbish.
No, they're looking for most of the characters were around between 22 and 26.
So how does it work? So the auditions / castings are open for anybody who wants to.
Well, apparently, yeah. A friend of mine, another colleague of mine, went through yesterday and said it was utter chaos. It was literally an open call.
Because it was
Yeah.
because of the turnout for
We
the
call
soap.
them generally Lion King auditions. You know, people that will stretch around the block somewhere. Maybe they'll change. But if you look at
See, that shouldn't happen. If I was running Saga, that shouldn't happen. I'd be standing there with a big stick. I'd be like, it's
No
not
violence.
happening.
If you look at the
Unfortunately.
social network right now, word on the street, is don't go.
I want to talk about dodgy agents because I think there's a dark side to the industry because of the lure of being famous, of becoming a celebrity, and there will always be people who are going to take advantage of it.
That's life.
It's life. I think if you don't know why you're coming into this industry, you'll always fall victim to people like that. But I've never had a dodgy agent because I try to always make sure that I knew what I was signing up for. I mean, once you're signing a contract, you have to be sure of what you're doing. But I've fell victim to dodgy producers before who to this day have not paid me for work.
Speak to me on my stick. I get your money for small price.
Every actor I know can tell you a horror story about a producer who did you did a show for them or you did this. Come the end of the production, it's time to invoice. Where's the money? There's no money. My funding didn't come through on time. You know, those are some of the excuses people use.
There's always going to be people who are unscrupulous. People are going to take advantage of newcomers from whatever reason. I think, we haven't even gotten to the casting couch gender dynamics of that kind of abuse that has happened in the business. People need to be aware. They need to, walk into that room with their eyes wide open.
Casting couch gender dynamics, it sounds so dodgy.
It is dodgy.
Very dodgy because it is dodgy.
It's not. Let's put it this way. We can all say that there are. A lot of that people think it's a myth. It's not a myth, but it's not the rule. If you're working seriously in this business, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's not to say that there aren't serious people who have gone down that road maybe and done that. But I think there have been instances, even at varsities, where now, disciplinary or legal action has been taken against people. People are very, very aware. The industry wants to protect itself in the sense of saying, okay, there's somebody who has transgressed somewhere, who's put somebody who's vulnerable into a position where they're unable to defend themselves, or they feel so intimidated because there's this sense that if I don't do this, I'm never going to get anywhere in the business. So I think that the industry itself is working very actively to say, push these people out.